all Indigenous youth and people in our network to create artwork at home and submit them for a chance to win prizes, including our grand prize, a brand new MacBook Pro. Tune in every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on all our social media platforms for a chance to learn techniques from professional artists every week. We will also be featuring some of our students who will be sharing their skills and talking about their experiences working within our programs. So get your beats ready and get those canvases primed. Make sure your camera's in focus as we move through this difficult time. The Windcarriers Challenge, here to bring you good peace of mind. Yes. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, David Hodges. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Windcarriers Challenge show. What week are we now? I think this is week 13. Super excited to be here. Glad to see a lot of different people chiming in right now. We have a very exciting show today for you all. And we're just going to get right started. But if you are checking out the show right now, we're showcasing this on the Facebook Live on the N'we Jinan page. If you are watching it from some of my personal pages as well, make sure if you want your comments to be seen and you want to join into the conversation as well and into the fun, make sure that you check it out on the N'we Jinan page if you want to kind of chime in and get a little more involved. You know what I mean? We have that little thing at the bottom, the little ticker saying, welcome to the Windcarrier show. Where are you watching from? Make sure you just let us know where you're watching from. We can definitely share that. And if you have any questions for any of our guests as the show goes on, feel free to also ask those questions, share some encouragement as well. Just to get into a few things, if this is your first time watching the Windcarrier show, my name is David Hodges. I'm the co-executive director of InPath, focusing mainly on outreach and partnerships, but I'm here on behalf of N'we Jinan Programs. Some people might be wondering, what is InPath? Well, InPath is a learning not-for-profit organization that develops and supports our N'we Jinan programs. We also train and support our incredible roster of professional artists that work within our programs. Our main objective is to weave creative networks of support for Indigenous youth. And so a lot of people, we're showcasing this on the N'we Jinan Facebook page, which has really been highlighting a lot of the programs that we do offer. And we're just excited to be able to do this Windcarriers Challenge at the same time in light of COVID and everything that's been going on. Essentially, one of our programs is the youth conference, the N'we Jinan Festival and Youth Conference that we host every single year. Unfortunately, this year we weren't able to do it because of COVID. And so that's where the Windcarriers Challenge was born, is that we essentially decided to go on social media every single week, bring on some exceptional youth that have interacted and connected with us through our programs, and also bring on our artists, to talk about their process and the things that they do best as well, and have some good conversations, but then also put out a challenge, an artistic challenge every single week, so that you, the viewers at home, could actively participate every single week and submit artistic works for prizes. That's essentially what we're doing here on our Facebook and Instagram page. And so we're super excited to be able to continue doing that. But if you have not really followed us on our Instagram page, you're watching on our Facebook or on our YouTube right now, make sure you go check out the Instagram page and also the pages, and also check out the hashtag Windcarriers Challenge to get yourself all caught up to what has happened, all of the different artworks that have been submitted throughout the last 13 weeks. We're super excited about that. We want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, essentially the Shamedy Foundation and Taking It Global. The Shamedy Foundation are essentially a private family foundation based in Montreal, founded in 2015 with a vision of improving the lives of the younger generation so that they may have the opportunity of a brighter future. Essentially, they gave us a whack of dollars to be able to do this thing. And so we're super excited, super grateful for the support that the Shamedy Foundation have offered our organization. So big shout out to them. And as well as Taking It Global, powerhouse organization here in Canada. Taking It Global is one of the world's leading networks of young people learning about, engaging with, and working towards tackling global challenges. They have a lot of amazing programs and initiatives, a lot of micro grant opportunities as well for young leaders, Indigenous leaders who are looking to start programming in their own community or have a vision for leadership within their own community as well. and you can definitely check them out. So shout out to Taking It Global and all the amazing stuff that they've done. And shout out to Empath. I guess shout out to myself. I always say that. I was just kidding. But yeah, shout out to the whole Empath community, all of the artists, all of our team and staff that are working super hard and endlessly to ensure that all of our programs are running swimmingly. And so we're excited about that. Challenge winner. Every week we have a challenge. And so I gotta do some housekeeping right now and give out some prizes. Last week, the challenge was to do a collaborative music project, either making a beat, sharing some samples, but also, or maybe creating a collective video with various people making different sounds to combine to make a beat. And we had one submission. One submission, but we're so happy for that submission. I'm actually going to share it with you because it's pretty wild. Check this one out. Yeah. There you go, man. So yeah, they're having some family fun around the dinner table. That's actually how I used to learn how to harmonize and do like harmonies and stuff. I used to sing with my brother and my dad on the long road trips, and we would just we would do it that way, So just seeing that kind of video just brought me back a little bit. So shout out to Glitch Gamer. I think it's Glitch Gamer on Instagram. Glitch Game. You are this week's winner. And so congrats. So we'll be getting in touch with you. You win a $100 gift card to anywhere of your choice. N'we Jinan prize pack. So, and also remember that submission also counts towards our grand prize, the MacBook Pro, which will be happening in week 17. So shout out to Glitch Gamer. We'll be getting in touch with you. And yeah, that's really awesome. So who's on today's show? I wonder. Who is on today's show? I'm actually really excited to bring on these two folk. They're super awesome people, and I've gotten to know them over the years, and we're really excited to be bringing them on. So we have Teresa Henderson out in Surrey, British Columbia. Super exceptionally gifted, talented young singer. I met her like 3 years ago, and she's really like grown and done so many really interesting things. And very excited to have her on the show to talk about her journey. And then we also have Craig, aka Northwest Kid. Man, this guy's super, super dope. Hip-hop artist, poet, youth worker as well. He's been working with our organization for the last 3 years, and we're really excited to have him on the show to talk to us a little bit about his journey. And what we're really excited about is that we're also going to be doing a live collaboration on today's show, creating a song that will actually be connected to our artistic challenge this week. And so we're super excited about that, about bringing these guests on. We have a couple of people already sharing where they're from here. So gonna give a quick shout out here to Mia out in Oklahoma watching us. So shout out to Mia. Who else we got here? Oh, we got Jamie Jacob. Shout out Jamie with Skaginish. Oh, yeah, that's super awesome. Shout out to our EU people out in the Cree Nation, Northern Quebec. We also have Kathleen Small out in OJ Boogamoo, also the Cree Nation. Shout out to our people from the EU Ishji watching the show today. We're going to move it into the next section, which is Song of the Week. So the Song of the Week this week is coming to us courtesy of a group of Anishinaabe youth from living out in Thunder Bay. They're from various areas in Northern Ontario area. They actually had a chance to work with our mobile production studio team this year, and they created this song called Promised Land. And we're going to play this one today as our N'we Jinan song of the week. Every week we always start off with a little song just to get the vibes going in. So essentially Promised Land, this was done in Thunder Bay. Various Northern Ontario First Nation communities who are also students connected to the Kiiwetinook Okimakanak Education Department in Thunder Bay, Ontario. This track explores feelings surrounding togetherness and the challenges of having to live in Thunder Bay while coming from surrounding Indigenous communities. Major shout out to the youth from the song. We have Rihanna, Rain, Cornell, and Summer Spade. The song's called Promised Land. Let's get into it.
Promised land is where I belong. It feels like years since I've been gone. I wanna go back to our isolated place. It's isolating with the rays of
and culture dear to me. The hope in my mama's eyes, I see what she sees in me. I don't wanna be stolen from this world. It's to my missing and murdered Indigenous girls. We remember you, know this is all temporary. Everything you're going through, I know the struggle of being judged for someone you're not. They can't strip away what our ancestors taught. Together we rise.
The promised land, where I belong, where I belong. It feels like years since I've been gone, since I've been gone. We wanna go back to our isolated ways. It's isolating with the racism that we face.
It's so hard staying in school and being away, away. I loved home at age 15. I wish I could stay. I really miss the comfort of being surrounded by trees. Yeah, my ancestors' spirits give me strength through the breeze, the breeze.
Ever since I left home, I haven't really seen my little sister get grown. Because I gotta pursue my education. But it's so full of frustration because I'm not at home. My girl is my home away from home. She's a heir to the throne. She makes me feel at home in my little zone. She never lets me feel alone.
The promised land is where I belong.
There it is. There it is. Shout out to the youth from out by in Thunder Bay area, different remote communities in northern Ontario that are currently studying in Thunder Bay. Shout out to our mobile production studio team as well for putting that one together. Shout out to Earthchild, the Northwest Kid, and Patrick Shannon, who went out to Thunder Bay earlier. This is still 2019. It was during last school year though, so that was super dope, man, to be able to do that. And yeah, so we're gonna move into bringing our guests on. I'm really excited to do this because I just can't wait to do some live activity and make a song too. But I'm also just really interested in being able to have a conversation around the barriers in the education system. It's going to be an interesting topic today, and we're going to be bringing on our first guest today, exceptional youth here. That we connected with a couple of years back, and I've been in touch with her. I got a chance to actually to see her in person, in action at the BC AFN conference that happened earlier in actually this year, out in Vancouver. And so Teresa Henderson, let's just get into it. Teresa Henderson is a young Métis multidisciplinary artist from Surrey, British Columbia. She is creatively passionate about painting, singing, and writing. Currently enrolled in her local post-secondary institution, Kwantlen Polytechnic University. Teresa is in pursuit of her career as a speech therapist. We first met her during our mobile production studio program with the Surrey School District. Super excited to have her on the show. So without further ado, everybody give it up for Teresa Henderson. How's it going, Teresa?
Not too bad. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm doing well. How was that bio? I whipped up a quick bio for you. Was it like relatively accurate, or like what would you
definitely
think? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. I'm glad. Sometimes because I'm always creating bios for the youth, because it's not like you would typically need a bio yet. You know what I mean, Teresa? Unless you have one low key. I don't know. I didn't even ask you, but
nope.
You know,
Well,
I'll
steal yours.
That's it. I could send that one to you. It's a good starting point. You could change it up or add as things like happen. You know what I mean? But I'm just super excited to have you on the show, Teresa. But before we get started, let maybe introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
My name is Teresa Henderson. I am from Surrey, BC. but my family comes from Manitoba and actually all over. I've always lived in BC all my life. I got a big family. We all live here. I love them to death.
That's it. That's it. Well, thank you for that introduction. I know that when I first met you too, I met you like 3 years ago at the Surrey School District. We did a project, a school board project, which ended up being called Hide and Seek and all that. And I remembered I was like, at that point in your life, you were at a certain place. Like, I don't know if you could remember quite distinctly, like how you where you were at that time period. But let's take it back a little bit to like talking about high school, because you have graduated, right? Or you're on to other things. You're at university now, so, and we'll get into all of that. But let's backpedal a little bit to your high school life. You know, where were you at? What was happening in your student life with your personal identity?
High school was, in a simple term, rough. I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I had my small circle of friends that I cherished very much. Quality over quantity, as they say. But I also had a lot of at-home responsibilities and outside responsibilities. I was in Army Cadets for a long time. I was a theater kid. I like to sing. I like to paint. I like to, spread myself as thin as possible and hope that everything works out. And so I was a pretty stressful person. And out of everything that I like to do, homework was not one of them. And so I didn't do my homework. And I kind of started to fall behind. And I never really picked myself and pushed myself back to, B plus, A average. I kind of stayed at a low grade average, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, which was maybe it was unfortunate, but I mean, as time kind of has shown us, it led you down a certain path. But I remember when I first had like met you, we were all in the room with the group, so we essentially, when we met, it was like a board wide project. So there was like youth from different like schools from the school that were selected from the school district. But I remember when it came to you, I remember kind of like a word that you said, and it showed a bit of that lack of motivation, in all honesty, where you were just kind of like if this experience isn't like really that great, like I'm probably just gonna stop singing. I remember you kind of saying something along that line, and I remember it being shocking at first, but I mean, I'm just trying to assess, understand where everybody's at that particular time. And then based off of like how that project kind of came about, it was really circling around identity. We had some conversations a little bit about your background being Métis, but not really knowing too much about it at the time, I believe, right? So do you want to talk us a little bit about doing this project here, Hide and Seek? I could actually show it real quick, just to bring you back to that time. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but I'll show your part. And like we can talk around the lyrics.
Sing, come this way. The closer you look, the more that you see. The wisdom of elders come back to me. Once taken from home, but now we are free. We won't forget where we're meant to be. Come and find me.
Jeez, man, that brings me right back. Classic right there. But yeah, like talk to me a little bit about like that moment of like working with other youth from your school district, talking about the things you guys were talking about, like the kind of impact that it made on you.
We all talked as a group how being Indigenous wasn't very prominent in our everyday life, like it should be. It's part of me, so I'd like it to be part of my everyday life. It's who I am. But in school, it wasn't something that was necessary, I guess. And so I didn't get to talk about it a lot. And I don't look very Indigenous to some people. And so I wasn't really let into that group. But then I also wasn't let into the non-Indigenous group because they knew I was Indigenous. Anyways, it was a whole lot of me not finding a place where I could feel like myself. And when we did the music video, everyone there knew what I was going through, and so we kind of connected on that.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. And I know history kind of shown that was a really like there was some board wide success with that project. I know that it was like kind of like a little pilot project that was initiated by the Aboriginal Education Department at Surrey School District. So shout out to Heidi Wood and Nadine McSpadden, who worked on us with that project. But I believe through this project, I don't know, but this kind of puts you out there a little bit more, where you were essentially like a leader, right? In a way, kind of like representing like the student body of like the Surrey School District with this project. And I guess I don't know if this is true, but maybe this is what connected you to that pilot program that you ended up participating in at the Kwantlen University. But maybe I'd like to get into it, but before we do, because this was like news to me as I was doing research on you, Teresa. It was a bit of news to me that you were actually one of the few students who were part of this kind of like pilot program, where essentially and this is in Maclean's magazine, which is pretty awesome. And there you are talking to your professor at this school. But it essentially talks about like the barriers that the educational system have. And you did share that, you were a student that like was pursuing like leadership activities outside of school. You're interested in drama, but your grade average, as you described at the time, was not a very good one. And so even though you may seem like a great candidate for university, because of your grades, you're like, quote unquote, not like qualified, but we know that that's not necessarily the case. I mean, with this is a pilot program, so they wanted this to really focus on, I guess, skills. Or maybe you could talk a little bit more about this program, because obviously you're part of the pilot and you're still enrolled in the university. So talk to me a little bit about like what that experience has been and what this program is about.
The program was really fun to do, to be honest, because it got me out of a lot of class. And I started working with Dr. David Burns from the university, and I worked with a advocate, I'd say. She went to the university, and she was like a high grade student, Natasha, and I got along with her really well. And they pretty much told me that they know my grades aren't fantastic, but what else do I have to offer? And so I showed them the music video, and they were super impressed with that. And so they were like, you got to tell us more. Like this shows who you are as a person. Your grades don't really tell me what you do on your day-to-day life. That shows me that you can hand in your homework on time. What else do you do that shows you as a person? And so I told them about Army cadets and my big family that I take care of and help take care of. My theater group that I was in for almost 4 years, a whole bunch of other things like painting and writing, and we put it all into a portfolio, and that became my application for the university rather than a list of my grades and what I've done in school.
Interesting. And so like once that portfolio was done, like, and I guess you also went through a reflection period where you're trying to see like what it is that you want to do, right? Like now that you have this like option, like an alternative option, I guess, essentially to like go to university and do a program of your desire. So what did you end up applying for, like when you kind of went through this process?
I am now an undergrad in psychology. I've always really liked psych, and because my grades weren't fantastic, I couldn't go straight to UBC like I had planned, but that's totally fine because Kwantlen is definitely feeding my thirst for knowledge. I have enjoyed going back to school. University is nicer than high school, I'd say. And I've kept in touch with Natasha and Dr. Burns, and they've helped me continue with schooling.
That's great. And like there was a line that was in this Maclean's article that I think is such a it's like such an inspirational quote, and like I'm so glad that they put it out, this kind of information out there. But it's a quote they quoted you saying, It is so important to get to know someone and not just look at their report card and grades and assume they didn't try. So maybe, I mean, that is like a stigma, right? Like if you're like kind of like, like if a student that doesn't get the greatest grades, they, there's a stigma attached to them that they're not trying hard enough, when we know that the story maybe is deeper than that. So like maybe elaborate a little bit more about like, about that sentiment.
I really like that quote. I didn't know that they were going to quote me on it, but it was super nice. I know that my grades weren't the best, and I communicated that with my teachers. And it's not that I like threw away my homework and was like, who needs it? I just couldn't find the time to do it in my busy schedule. And so it just kind of fell to the side, and I didn't really, finish my homework like everybody else did. But I went to class, and I was mostly a good student. I'd crack jokes every now and then, but who doesn't? I'd get along with my teachers. I'd get along with my classmates. I'd be there. I'd be present. I'd ask questions. And then once class is over, I'm like, school's out of my brain. Who needs to think about that? There are more important things to think about, like, is the laundry going to be done tonight?
No, definitely.
Family stuff instead.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those are responsibilities, right? And sometimes if you're a young adult, like, and you're put in a situation where it's like you got to be an adult at the house, then sometimes those responsibilities are going to take over, where it's like you're going to do the unselfish thing, you know what I mean? And kind of like chip in where you can. So I definitely appreciate that sentiment too. And there was a cool line that actually I think it might have been your professor's line though, but we're going to segue this into bringing on Craig as well. But he stated research on the labor market is continually saying that we need to have more specific discussion about an individual's ability and skills. He adds, citing employer complaints of a skills shortage, or at least a mismatch between graduate skills and the market needs. So that's really talking, like I just think about these things about like individual skills that like young people have today, and the educational system doesn't always specifically speak to those skills, so there's a lot of like a lack of nourishment for certain things that you may have that like, that could, if there's individualized focus on it, it could cater more to where you want to see yourself, and you're now working in a different capacity where it's more customized to like kind of your end goal of where you want to end in your career. So yeah, it's like you're spending more time doing the things, learning about the things that you love and that you want to do and get better at, as opposed to learning so much other stuff that, yeah, it might generalize your kind of understanding about things, but even then it's like it doesn't speak to you, and that's like there's a lack of motivation. Even me, I grew up in the school system too. I went the distance to all the way through university, but I had so much trouble being motivated. You know what I mean? I still graduated, but I didn't graduate with flying colors, nor did I end up pursuing anything in the field that I graduated in, but I learned that I was like, dang, I guess the system really took me for a ride. And now that I'm done, I got to figure it out for myself, and use some of those skills that I may have learned a little, but now it's like, I got to like figure even more stuff out outside of the school context, because they didn't teach me nothing, Yeah. So like I definitely, that line that was shared, man, in the article as well, really rang true to me. And it kind of is how I wanted to connect to Craig, because Craig is he's originally from the Gitstan Nation, and I don't even really know his educational story. And I'd love to keep you on the show here, Teresa, to even like get involved and ask some questions too, pertaining to Craig and like his career but I also just want to get to know to where he started, because I feel like Craig's like at that point where you were at, Teresa, kind of like started to get those stepping stones after going through it. You know what I mean? You came out sort of on the positive end of it, where you're like, you have your path kind of more clearly defined. And Craig is like, he's active in his career, and he's still trying to figure out his way, so let's bring him on the show and get his 2 cents. So wait a sec. Craig Eads, aka the Northwest Kid, singer, songwriter, music producer, music mentor. essentially is from the originally from the Gitstan Nation in British Columbia. He's been actively performing as a poet MC within the Canadian music scene for nearly a decade. He has tons of releases. Some of his releases go as Mixed Blood mixtape, Mob Medicine, and in 2019 he did some independent. He did a release with Dozy, a music producer as well, and he also a Mob Bounce released the Transformation EP. He's got lots of new music that's also available. It's released a new single that we actually started the show off today. Super excited about that. He's currently based in Saskatoon, and he performs conscious alternative hip hop music and does youth work all across Turtle Island. He's been working with our organization for the last 3 years. So without further ado, give it up for Craig, aka the Northwest Kid.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm thankful for this opportunity to sit in with you guys and to hear. Thank you so much for sharing. I feel like my story can kind of relate to yours. Like when I went to school, like as soon as I started high school, they thought I had like a learning disability, and they put me in this place called the Student Center, and all the kids in the school called it the Stupid Center. And like I would go there, and they'd make me take these tests, and like they would make me look at these pictures, and they'd be like, "What do you see?" And I'd tell them what I saw, and then they would like show me something and tell me to tell you what it's called. And I was really bad at telling you what it was called, but I could tell you how to use it. And like I was looking at these pictures and I was telling them what they saw, and like what I was seeing was on like a university level, but my comprehension of things were like at like a grade 6 level. So like they labeled me with like a learning disability, put me in this space. And yeah, like because of it, I never got to take French. You know what I mean? Lots of crazy stuff in my life, but like, and like because I never took French, they were just like, "Hey, you're Indigenous, like, you know your language." And it was just an assumption. Like I know like words. I'm not a fluent speaker or anything, but like because I was Gitsan, they ended up being like, "You know a second language," and they didn't even like test me or anything. So I just never took French, you know, like my whole life. And I mean, like when I hear your story, I think about like the quote, if you it's like an Einstein quote, if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it'll spend its whole life thinking it's stupid. And for me, it's like, so I don't know, I relate a lot to you. I mean, I went through lots of like traumatic stuff in my life, and like I lost my best friend on my grad. He went missing, and I believe like he could have even been murdered, like, but his body was found in the river. And like because of it, I needed to get out of Houston, BC. Like, and I ended up taking theater because I had an awesome theater teacher in high school that just like, you know, I would have never thought I was a theater kid, but they were like, "Hey," like they're just trying to nurture, right? They saw like the same things, like somebody with potential and somebody who meant well, and maybe somebody who was going through a lot, but like this was like, that was my start. And like I wouldn't have been in music if it wasn't for theater, and if it wasn't for like my theater teacher, you know. And I had a music teacher, and if I didn't go to this music program every year, like throughout all high school, like once a week, I would have never graduated on time. And it was like this thing where like music was my saving grace. And because I took this music course, I was able to graduate on time and have spares in my grade 12 year. But like if I didn't do that, because of all of the like tests in my grade 8s and 9s and 10s, like that's where like I could have, like, you know, never got my GED or something. But like because of all of these things, like I ended up going to theater school in Capilano. So yeah, acting for stage and screen. And it was all that got me into music, essentially. Like theater brought me out of my shell and gave me my voice, and it let me feel a little more comfortable in sharing who I am with people, instead of just like people putting what they thought I was on me, you know?
Yeah, geez, man, you hit the ground running with this one, Craig. Geez, this is insane. But like, you know, shout out to, and I've seen this in the N'we Jinan comments here, but shout out to all the teachers and mentors who support us no matter what our grades are, and who encourage us to find our voices. You know,
so like, you know, we all have a couple teachers if we're lucky like that, and shout outs to them for sure.
No, definitely, you know. And maybe even like Craig, like obviously you could tell that those programs that you really like, that really spoke to you, who you are in terms of in your heart, like do you feel like that's inspired your kind of like where you're at today, to the willingness to like want to be like, you are a music mentor, you know what I mean? You essentially
Yeah,
like
for sure. Like, I mean, I like took, when I was in those, taking those tests and feeling dumb, like I was also being like having to go back to the other classes and like learn poetry from an English teacher who doesn't know a thing about poetry. You know what I mean? And then they're like critiquing my poetry and making me feel dumb about it. You know what I mean? Or things like that, or focusing on your spelling instead of like what you're saying and things like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. But like, do you have like a very like a positive transformative moment that happened where it really like it really cemented things for you, or like, okay, like there's no turning back at this point?
Yeah, like I went to like I had to get out of that, all of the trauma, all of the craziness in my college, in my town. I went to Vancouver, North Vancouver, and it was going to Capilano, like, going through all the right channels and being a sponsored student through your band, and like being able to get the resources from the First Nations liaisons in post-secondary schools, because those are like your saving grace too, right? Like it feels like post-secondary school is what high school should be, and like the First Nations liaison at post-secondary should be at the schools. And it's like they try to have that in schools, but like in high schools they just have like really limited resources, it seems like.
Yeah, definitely. And because you're going to school on reserve as well?
I went, well, technically I guess you could say it was like Capilano, it's definitely unceded territory. And but yeah, like it was in the city. And I grew up in a place called Houston, BC, so that's where like the Unistoten camp is and things, and that's where like all the turmoil is with like LNG and things like that. But yeah, so it's like, for me, it's like I grew up like visiting the res every summer, and like all my family's from there, but my family moved out for work, and just because of that, like, it's a similar story, but a lot closer to home. It's not like provinces away,
Definitely. I'm trying to see, like, Teresa, is there any questions that you might have up to this point? Or I want to open it up to Teresa, because it's a cool opportunity for her to ask you some questions if she may have some,
I don't think I have any questions, mostly just comments. I really, really enjoy your music. I was listening to it earlier. I'm beginning to be a fan.
Great.
I can't think of any questions off the top of my head right now, but I'll definitely jump in if I have any.
Yeah, maybe. And keeping it with the conversation about barriers in education, like, Craig, like, now that you're a recognized professional artist, like, especially in the Indigenous music scene, a lot of people know like of your come up, and like you're where you're at today as the Northwest kid. Like, what are some barriers that you've also experienced, like even in the post-secondary realm, like, post like high school, you getting out and receiving some training here and there? Do you still see some barriers that exist for musicians, Indigenous musicians?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people who they thrive on climbing that tree, that metaphorical tree. So it's like when they come into, they've went through the whole education system being great at climbing that tree, and when they get into like post-secondary school, a lot of that high school mentality can get carried over, So with me, when a lot of that high school mentality gets carried over, like that was some of my main barriers. Like when I was young, I'm lucky that I could see the youth a lot more conscious of their surroundings, and like the civil, like the social piece, like the story of us. When I was young, you're just so like entrenched in your own personal baggage that like you're just living disconnected, and like, yeah, like it's this weird realization, almost like the social piece of it all. And I feel like, yeah, like it's not like people don't really understand that social piece that much, and if you do understand it at a young age, it's a privilege. And like nowadays we're really fortunate that like the young people are a lot more privileged than we were. We're not kind of living in the Stone Ages as much anymore. Yeah, so for me, it's like post-secondary, that was the thing for me too. It's like I was still like, I never had a chance to process any of the stuff in my life, and you just get put into the same thing, and I feel like post-secondary, if you go in right after school, could almost be a waste of money. Like it just feels like, but if you have the right things in place and you're dedicated, then do it. But like for me, it's like I went to school for for like 3 years for acting for stage and screen, and as soon as I was done, I was like, I'm going to be a musician. So like it's a funny world. Like you might go to school for something, and like right near the end of it, like you're just like, wow, I discovered like this all of these things brought me the tools I need to do what my passion is in life. But like, just because I have a certificate in this thing doesn't mean it's going to dictate my life, or like just because I have a diploma in this thing doesn't mean like that's the be all end all of what I have to do in life.
Yeah, no, definitely. But like even hearing that you like, you did go through the theater program and then ended up choosing to go into music professionally as your career. But like at the same time, it's like you can still think back to like a lot of the skills that you honed during that time that you're probably using now. Sometimes subconsciously, you don't even realize that like you're speaking this way, or you have this kind of body language,
having like an understanding of the stage through like a theater perspective.
Yeah,
I guess exactly. You know what I mean. Like definitely, like you don't like put the stage on a pedestal as much. You kind of understand like people come to a space to give you their attention there and things.
Oh, definitely. Like even like me, like I actually have a background in philosophy. That's my bachelor's of arts that I took in university, and I'm like, I can't even really tell you anything about epistemology or metaphysics right now because I do not remember those days. Like it was just so complicated, but I somehow got through it using linguistics and using my understanding and logic. And then after I graduated, I technically turned away from philosophy. I didn't like pursue like I'm not a teacher in philosophy or any of these type of things. But then I look back and I think about like even right now, like I'm always like being introduced to concepts constantly and able to digest them super quickly. Or like working with different Indigenous languages in Canada, especially in BC, they're so different. And they're very complex in like pronunciations. And I've always been able to really interact with those languages fairly quickly as well. And I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like, it's probably somewhere in my degree in philosophy, even though I thought it was a waste of 3 years. It's like now I have this way of understanding stuff, and it's like, and it becomes part of your intuition almost, where it's like built into you subconsciously. You know what I mean?
It's some people might say it's part of your bundle. You know what I mean? So it's like you get these tools and things, and they're with you forever, and like that way you're able to, even though you're not in that field, you still have all of those tools, and they definitely help you stay sane in this crazy world.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like it's definitely been a blessing, but I think that the arts is a great access point to that as well. Which is like, where our organization has been able to connect, and we've been able to do so much. All of us have been able to do so much because of the arts, to like externalize, like let alone like the externalization of like all of these feelings and emotions, like being able to like the expression component, but then also being able to connect, build relationships with people. And that's really essentially where it's at. Like without relationships, we would be nothing, And so it's just been amazing to be able to connect to both of you amazing folks, like in such like different ways. But then I'm just seeing like, and oddly, like I didn't even know, Craig, I forgot that you had a theater background. And I know that Teresa was like huge into drama, like in the high school. So it was a very interesting connection between you guys,
like, I got like an adjudicator award when I was in grade 12, and people were like, you got to go to school. And like, it was my only way out. Like my friend, like he didn't pass away at the time. So I was like, I can't leave my friends. Like, how could I leave the only thing I know type of thing? But it was like my theater teacher that like saw me in her class and was like, you should apply to this school, and like help me get the things in order. And it was like, that was my ticket out essentially after, stuff got really bad. I got the acceptance letter from the school. I was able to get my transcripts to my band, because I was applied to be a part of the education, like right out of high school. You kind of get a priority in that list. And I was lucky. I was able to get into the school, and they paid for my tuition. You know what I mean? But you had to hold a certain average and things like that. So it's different with every nation, but it's definitely something worth utilizing. And, it could be like that next big thing that, even though it's scary to leave, like you're getting some tools that'll change your life forever. And just like think about your goals and your purposes in life, right? Like there's this exercise that I learned where you do like, what's the world need more of? What do I love? And what are you good at? And you find where everything intersects. and it helps you find out like what your purpose is and things. So like, I don't know, like theater helped me memorize things quickly. Theater helped me get the confidence to stand in front of people and use my voice, you know, things like that. And it's like, it helped me understand like technical things like the stage and lighting and things like that. So it's like, I don't know, just take as much as you can away from whatever you're in, and don't like have too many housed expectations about what's going to happen after the schooling too.
Yeah, definitely. And like, you know, even Teresa, like doubling back to you, like where you're at right now, doing like you're doing a focus in psychology, leading towards like is it speech pathology or is it speech therapy or something like that? That's like your ultimate goal. Maybe talk to us a little bit about that, because it's interesting. We're seeing you just before you're in the middle of that journey of the training, and these are all those thoughts that are going to maybe become extremely useful for you later down the line. But talk to us a little bit about that.
I am an undergrad in psychology right now. I really love psychology, just like how the brain works. And I think it'll help me later on with I am picking up, you know, this tool to help me later on with speech pathology, which is, you know, helping people learn how to speak properly. And I love languages. So I've done a couple linguistics classes. You know, another tool I've grabbed. I've done creative writing. I've done astronomy. I've picked up all of these, you know, all of these classes where I can, and I've learned things and I've taken things from those classes, and I can, you know, use them in the future with my speech pathology.
That's super awesome. That is great though, you know, and it's great that you're looking at it like from that perspective. Like it sounds like you're very intentional as well. Like, so that's like, these are like specific things you want to learn and add to your.
This is what I was talking about, like seeing somebody who has the things that you know what I mean? It's like, you're definitely like the hope of the future generations, you know what I mean? Like, and it's definitely like those types of things that a lot of us didn't have when we were coming up, and it's super positive and super awesome to see that, like, essentially that the next generation has a better head on their shoulders, you know?
Yeah, definitely. You know, and we also have to give that shout out to Kwantlen Polytechnic University for identifying this as like a thing, right? Like identifying it as there are students that have all of these skill sets. Let's focus on that as opposed to looking at the grades, you know, and you know, and then it spawns these young leaders like Teresa. And I know, Teresa, you weren't the only one. There's other students from the school board that were also selected. So, and that's a growing school in Vancouver. I believe it's in Vancouver, right? Or they have scattered different.
We have a couple campuses all over the Lower Mainland.
Yeah, for sure. So we're definitely we're going to share that article with our audience as well, the McLean's article, so people can read up more about it. That article came out in 2018, so it's 2 years ago, but you're still at it, and and I believe that Kwantlen University is still very active, and it's a growing university. And I believe in BC are always seem to be like, especially curriculum is always like, seems to be like 4 years ahead of everybody else provincially, you know? So a lot of people are probably looking at the way that they're formatting this kind of like notion for education. It seems like it's a really interesting time, and there's probably tons of information on it if everybody else wants to check that out. And also, you know, Craig, we're happy to have you here. We're also going to be dropping your link, the Northwest Kid, your website, so that people can find all the information pertaining to you and all of your music and all the great stuff that you're doing. You got a new fan right here, Teresa, you know what I mean? So Teresa's probably going to help you with those algorithms, you know, but we're gonna post up the link so people can check out your music and share away, you know what I mean? I know that you're constantly releasing new stuff and putting out great vibes and great art into the universe. So so thank you both for facilitating this conversation. You guys want to keep going, or do you want to break out into the activity?
You guys want to try the activity and see how it goes?
Hey, I'm super down. How are you feeling there, Teresa? You feeling up to it?
Of course.
Okay. Good. So yeah, we're dropping those links right now. And so for the people that are watching at home, essentially this portion of the show, we essentially do an activity together. Today, we've decided to do a collaborative song over an instrumental that I created. I sent it over to Craig. Craig's kind of like formatted a verse. He's kind of had a verse maybe lying around, and he's formatted it to this beat. And so the activity is going to be that Craig is going to rap the beat. He's going to rap the verse over the beat for us right now, and then talk a little bit about the verse. And we're going to write a chorus for Teresa to record a chorus on, so we can create a little collaborative song. Teresa just got a Blue Yeti microphone, so shout out to Teresa's mom. And we want Teresa to use it. So she's an exceptional singer as well. I low key wanted to connect Craig and Teresa for a little collaboration over a Hodges beat. So why not? You know what I mean? I'm down, man. I'm down to hear it. And I'm down to make this happen. So Craig.
Yeah, I have like a speaker queued up with my phone and things. I'll play the instrumental and give you guys a vibe. There was one part where I thought maybe my verse would fit, but like you think that's the hook. So like I'll experiment. Maybe this first time coming in it won't slap, but it's because I'm just trying to like try it in a new place in the beat. But
don't make excuses, bro. Just slap this thing, bro. Just slap it up, bro. Let's go.
All right, so this is the native dead prayers, Neil Young, how to go real as it gets, yeah. Harvest moon, turn copper moon, dripping orange and blood red, yo. I've been all black since I was real young. Neil Young minus the Les Paul, me and my girlfriend feeding all the res dogs. Has me feeling kind of res dog. I got a pack of 5, helping to keep the pack alive. All 5 are res out. 2 with the pack of my modern day wolf pack, dream catching vibes. This is Hug William for your soul, hearing eggs up in your bowl. Since forever ago, rest out, soggy pampers, snotty nose. Here's the hook. Hey yo, yeah. You know, so like whatever you're feeling for that like type of, but like this is where like the hook of the beat would come in, and there's like that like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 1, 2. That's the thing. Catch the tempo. Here's the, and like for me, I think of it in terms of stanzas and like that 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll count it out. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a stanza. That's the hook. Then like we can have like, if we want to, we can do another stanza length. That's kind of like something like maybe just simple. I can hear my dogs barking. You guys might hear them barking too, but
it's a nice texture, man. You got to record that and send it to me, bro.
I was talking about some res dogs, and now they're in the background.
That's it. They heard the call, man. They heard the call.
Yeah.
You know? So, like your verse, like, what do you think? Like, what kind of concept can we work with? You know what I mean? In terms of, because we're essentially the activity is, Craig, you're gonna like get to like recording this live for us. So you're gonna record over the beat and send it over to me. I'm gonna mix it up. In the meantime, Teresa and I, like, we're gonna have to like come up with some lyrics, some melody for the chorus. But like, you know, what was the concept a little bit, Craig? Or Teresa, what is your reaction to like Craig? Like, what do you think he was kind of trying to talk about? You guys can vibe a little bit and see.
So for me, it was just like trying to like capture my life at the time, and my partner's a teacher, so we were chilling in a place called Thunderchild, and we were looking after a lot of dogs. And like for me, it's like, I don't know, I write about my life, right? Like in my identity, but it doesn't have to be like cliche identity too. Sometimes it's just like, for me, it was like that was my life and my identity at the time, right? So like all I'm really doing is talking about my life. So it might be really tough, but like, so like for me, it's like what about your life is unique to you, right? When we look at like hip hop culture, hip hop history, things, right? Like some of the dopest music out there was art imitating life, and it was, you know, so it's like, this is my art imitating my life. Like, how could you capture your life in a cool way that's not kind of like trying to, you know, glorify life that's not necessarily yours or anything, you know what I mean? Like that's basically where I was coming from. It's like, I'm not trying to maybe like sound a certain way, or you know what I mean, like come across like I'm like this tough rapper guy or something, right? Like it's just like trying to be honest in a certain way. So yeah, like it, like, and for this one, it's difficult. Like I do technically write with more messaging and things, but this one is just me trying to have fun. You know, it's like sometimes you balance it out, right? And just like, it's like the creativity, you just gotta like flush it out, right? And sometimes like what you're saying is just more about playing with words too.
Yeah. So based off a lot of the stuff that you said, I came up with a few things here. So I wrote about what about my life is unique to me. This is my art imitating my life. But then you just said balance it out. Balance it out sounds like a song title. So I think that you just came up with the song title. Maybe I don't even know. That's how I usually do. I just ask a question and let people talk, and then maybe there's some stuff that just pops out. Because sometimes it's hard to come up with that like initial idea just like that. But you said a lot of really interesting things. I didn't get it all out there because I was fiddling around with the sharing screen. But balance it out. I don't know. Balance.
So yeah, like I'm throwing musical references in there too. Like at the end, I'm kind of like, I wrote it at the time when I was chatting more with SNRK, and is give him a little shout out at the end. Like there's a line in it where I'm talking about my musical influences. So it's like Deb Prez being like a musical hip hop influence, but also like the real influences of like my childhood, right? So it's like my mother was a diehard Neil Young fan. Mm-hmm. And I love Neil Young too because of it, so it's just like sometimes it's like, yeah, just trying to capture like your essence in a lot of ways, right? Like, and the more you try to capture that, the more some people can relate to it. The more honesty, the more honest you are in like what you're trying to tell your story to be. I feel like the more honest you are with it, the more people can relate to it, right? Like, yeah. So for me, it's like, I'm also talking about like some traditional foods that like I might have seen some family members making, things like that. So it's like, I don't know, like if I was in Saskatchewan trying to capture things like the equivalent of hagwiliam, like, I don't know, so maybe there's some traditional food, like out here they do like neck bones or something, you know what I mean? Like they don't do fish as much and stuff, but so I don't know, for me, it was mainly just me trying to tell you, it's a total hip hop, right? Like, tell me who you are, drop some rhymes. It doesn't have to, you know what I mean? Tell me where you're from, what you're about, like right now, like type of thing. Show me what you got. And like, that was me showing you what I got, like repping where I was from at the time and where I'm from all the time, and like just
show you what I got, gotta balance it out. I've just started. But anyways, yeah, there's some stuff in there. So like maybe Teresa, do you want to kind of like chime in a little bit on like some of the things he's talking about?
I had something. Smart, I swear. I definitely got like pushing yourself kind of vibes, like, to do the best you can possibly do. And it kind of came up earlier, not on live, but David sent me some questions. One of them was, what's something that I always, like, what's a lesson that I've taken from my ancestors? And it's, what does not kill you makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm. Well, elaborate a little bit on that, actually.
So I kind of tend to fill my, like, music and painting and, movies.
I like that you're a painter too. Like, so like maybe the course could be like metaphorical, even about painting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like you're painting pictures with words when you're making music, right? Like, so it's just like, and also when you're writing, one good tip is sensory words, right? So like, like seeing, like touching, you know what I mean? Sense, like all of these things. Like if we think of descriptive words for those, we paint those pictures that much more for our listeners when they're just hearing what our words paint the pictures. But like, yeah, like I really like this, and like this, that you're a painter. Maybe there's something that speaks to you about playing with words in that way,
We got some people chiming in here to give us some this John is like, how about time to rewrite our history?
That's cool. Like I wrote down this simple thing. It's nothing too crazy, but it says unconventional and so traditional. Like it's very simple, like wordplay, but like those ideas of like, we're talking about the education system, right? And maybe not feeling as like understood in it, right? And that lack of understanding could be like us being perceived as unconventional by the dominant society. So, and like this idea of like what I was talking about, it's not like I'm a super traditional man or anything, but just trying to talk about some of the aspects of like my identity that I still know about, you know? So if there's anything like that too, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then right, the native dead prayers, Neil Young, how to go real as it gets, yeah. Harvest moon, turn copper moon, dripping orange and blood red, yo. I've been all black since I was real young. Neil Young minus the Les Paul, me and my girlfriend feeding all the res stars. Had me feeling kind of res dog. We got a pack of 5, helping to keep the pack alive. All 5 are rest out. 2 of the pack of my modern day wolf pack, dream catching vibes. This is Hug Young for your soul, hearing eggs up in your bowl. Since forever ago, rest down, soggy pampers, snotty nose.
All right. I'll paint you a picture, show you what I got. That's the first little lines there. The way that I always do it, I'm actually less like I focus less on words. So we can start with like, this is great that we have all of these words, but then for me, it's also melody makes it so much easier, because then if you hum melodies and then you have all of the syllables, then you can kind of start inserting some of the words.
Yeah,
in the
for
thoughts,
sure.
right?
And like Teresa, you got that theater background, so like the melody is like the blocking in theater, and when you do the blocking and you memorize the words, you want to memorize your words, and how you do it is by associating it with your blocking. And the same thing is with the melody and the words in our song, right? So it's like that melody is going to help us remember those words, even though we're just creating it right now in the spot, you know? So I feel like you're totally on to something, David. Like if there's a melody forming right now, like that'll be like the blocking to the song, you know?
Yeah.
And like that will definitely shape how many syllables we use out of all of these words.
Sounds good, bro. Sounds good.
I don't know, just an idea.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know. Like I could come up with a little melody, Teresa, and like we can start messing around with some of these words that we already have here.
Sounds
And
good.
like figure it out. And maybe Craig,
Yeah.
you can do, or do you have like your Logic Pro, everything's like set up right now?
Yeah, like I can start trying to like you might have to play the track yourself there.
Yeah, I'll play it on my end.
Yeah, perfect. And then I'll mute my mic right now, and I'll just give it a quick shot and try to send it your way.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do that.
Awesome.
I'm gonna just put you. I'll put you on mute there, bud. So yeah, you'll be on mute, but Craig's basically on mute right now, but he's working on his end on recording his verse, in which he's gonna send to me. We're gonna mix it down, and so in the meantime, Teresa and I are gonna work on this hook. So Teresa, let's see here. Actually, maybe can you play the beat on your end so that you can hear it? Do you have like little speakers?
I do. Let's see if they'll work. I did want to say, just before I forget it, just to add to your document here, I feel like when you're pushing yourself to be the strongest, and you know, other people are standing by your side, and you get confidence from them and they get confidence from you, so you like work off of each other, you know, like when you have people by your side, they're gonna help you and you're gonna help them. It's like a give and take kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, so having that support. So wait, but how did you start that off? You said it in a different way. Feel like yourself when you are your strongest. Is that what it means? Yeah, I guess that's what you mean, eh? Is that what you said? People by your side.
Better, but
Pardon?
I said I think you made it better.
No, I actually think that you said it that way, Teresa. I'm like low-key hungry, because when he mentioned the egg bowl there, he was talking about eggs or something in his traditional food thing. It actually made me really hungry. Like I'm just so down for like a fried egg on top of rice right now.
Fried egg.
Oh man, that'd be so good. But yeah, so let's try to do this. Like Teresa, do you have can you play the beat on your end?
I'm just looking it up right now.
While you do that, I'm gonna try to figure out the melody, not the words there, like, but we'll fit it all in.
Picking up.
I'll paint you a picture. Let me show you what I got. Let me show you what I got. You got a serious lag on your end. It's crazy. So like Teresa, like the lag is nuts.
Is it?
Well, it's like it lags and then the beat speeds up super quick. But like check this let's see if this melody works for these two lines here. I'll paint you a picture. Just let me show you what I got.
Yeah.
You want to try and sing that melody a little bit?
Where is it?
It's right here. It doesn't matter. You can come in whenever, you know? Or we could do what Craig said. You got to count to 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, it's coming up right here. Paint you a picture. Feel like myself. All right, Theo. I'm thinking, okay, I'll wait till it comes back here. I'll paint you a picture. Let me show you what I got. Feel like myself. Oh, yo, Teresa, let's pause the beat. All right, so like what I'm thinking for this part, like maybe you can chime in like a little bit what's going on between. Just let me show you what I got. There's like a little thing, so it's like I'll paint you a picture. Just let me show you what I got. And it's like what kind of line can we put in there to lead into like, because I'm thinking like I'll feel like myself when you like show me like when someone's like supporting you, you know what I mean? I'll feel like myself. But yeah, let me show you what I got. Yeah. I'm thinking of what rhymes with pictures. So we're gonna go like with the rhyme scheme A B. Always got to rhyme, you know? Maybe this will help. So A B. And then this one it would be nice if it rhymed with picture.
Yeah. Picture.
There's a lot though. More than scripture. People always would just say scripture automatically. We're not saying
Whisper.
Oh, okay. He's listening. Craig's listening.
Let me show you what I got.
What can we put it into whisper with the same amount of syllables? It's like, I'll paint you a picture. Just let me show you what I got. Ba-la-la-la-la whispers. I feel like myself if you give them a ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba. What can we put into whisper? Like something poetic. Let's use Craig's
Yeah, we need sensory
A sensory.
phrases.
So what kind of sensory could go into whisper?
Yeah, like words that we would like. How would you hear a whisper? You know what I mean? Maybe that is like will help us figure it out too.
Mm-hmm. So how would we hear a whisper? Or you hear a whisper. Hearing is the sensory, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Is
It's
it
just so
really
tiny
tiny?
for me to read what's on the for
I
me,
could
just
make this
because I'm
bigger.
like on my computer. Oh, tight.
Technology, man.
And I sent you like a very basic
Oh, you
WAV
did. You sent
file.
it. Okay.
Yeah, if you beef it up or whatever, throw
Yeah,
it in
100%.
there.
I'm gonna
and-
do that. We're just
Awesome.
trying to get that chorus. We're kind of almost there. We're almost there.
Let me
So it's
picture
like
this
I'll
in
paint you a
shot.
picture. Just let me show you what I got. Something. It could be whisper, but then it's like I'll feel like myself. This is more of a future line. So it's like I will feel like myself if you push me to be the best of what I.
Like sister might also replace whisper potentially. Like if whisper is like a
Yeah,
hard
there's
one.
whisper, sister. In my mind, I always say give you. So like you could give something to someone. Like my best, I'll give you, or like
Yeah.
my best, I could give you. I'll paint you a picture. Just let me show you what I got. My best, I will give you, and feel like myself. As long as you can help me to be to find my start. As long as you can help me to find my start. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, and I feel like if you play the beat and the melody, like that's gonna like bring it home, you know.
Yeah. That's what we do at N'we Jinan, bro. You gotta bring it home, baby. My best, I will give you. We have to say yeah, so it rhymes with picture, kind of a phonetic rhyme.
Slant rhyme. So yeah, this is called the slant rhyme, and we're focusing on the A vowel. You know.
Yeah. Some people are watching. Some people are chiming in, eh? Who's whispering? Christina says. Oh, and my dad is actually he's more down with whisper. My dad's coming in. My best, I will give you, and feel like myself. And feel like myself. If you. My best, I'll give you, if and feel like myself. This is like going out to those people that like that showed us that how we can have a voice. You know what I mean? And there's more of them. It's like the future people that like inspire the young generation. You know. I think so. My best, I will give you, and feel like myself. As long as you help me to find my start, maybe, or something.
Lock it in. So like for me, with my theater background, they taught me that like you're not a creative genius, that like creativity was something that came to you and through you type of thing. So it's like I was always taught that like if you have a rhyme coming or something, to just put it down anyways, because you might forget it. And that's that creative genius energy leaving, right? So it's like you have to really honor it while it's present. And I think that to be true, because I've tried to like, you know, I had some cool rhymes in my head and I went to bed and woke up and was like, oh dang, I
should have wrote those down.
yeah,
Definitely.
I totally messed up. But so yeah, I feel like this is a good start. And how you guys feeling about it?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I think I just finished it.
Awesome.
God.
I just want to hear Teresa sing, man.
Oh dang.
Yeah, trust me, bro.
Myself.
Wait, how'd you send this? I just want to download it. It says that I need access to it for some reason. Did you upload it on Google Drive, bro?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I have access to it.
Oh dang.
You just gotta do you know how to like do that?
For now, I will send you an MP3.
I'll show you what I've got.
Yes. Keep going.
Give you. I
feel like myself. As long as you help me to find my start. As long as you help me to find my start. You could, yeah. What do you think? What are you saying?
I let me show you, or let me and I'll like the first line, it in my head, sorry, la la la. Let me paint you a picture, I'll show you what I got.
Okay, yes. Yeah, okay. Let me paint you a picture. I'll show you what I got. Yeah.
Next I will
I
give you
feel like myself. As long as you help me to find my star. As long as you help me to find my star. Yeah. Let's just see if it works on the beat. Let me paint you a picture. I'll show you what I got, yeah. My best I will give you and feel like myself. As long as you help me to find my star. Not bad. It's actually pretty dope. It kind of doesn't roll off the tongue as much. It's kind of hard. As long as you help me to feel like myself. As long as you help me to find my star. Yeah, I'd probably do it. It probably will work.
I think it sounds great. Yeah, and I sent you it again, but from a different email. I sent an MP3, and I tried to do away from Google Drive. So worst case, you could just throw the MP3 in for now. But
yeah, I got it.
If you're lucky, the wave works.
Oh, it's perfect, bro. It's already in. It's all synced up. Hey, this is good, man. I'm gonna show people what I'm doing because these are the lyrics. I'm gonna send this to you, Teresa.
Sounds good.
And then, like, essentially, Teresa, you're gonna have to record it.
Yes.
I don't know how we're gonna do it. Like, if you can't get the Audacity, Craig, are you still using a Mac or are you using a PC?
I'm a Mac, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because Teresa's on a PC, and like I tried to hook up Audacity, but I think she needs to wait for a password to like. But you said you're gonna download it on your other computer, eh, Teresa?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we'll do is like you'll have to record the chorus on your new Blue Yeti, and then you'll send me the acapella just the way Craig just did.
So yeah, have you ever used Google Drive before?
Yes.
Awesome. So just like that, I'll copy and paste David's email to you. You could copy and paste that, and once it's in the Google Drive, you can share it in an email to that email right there. But yeah.
So I got your verse all synced up there, as people can see.
Beauty.
That's done. That's a done deal.
Native dead prayers, Neil Young, hard to go, real as it gets, yeah. How the smoke turn copper moon, dripping orange and blood red, yeah. I've been all black since I was real young. Neil Young minds me as Paul, me and my girlfriend feeding all the West Coast. Hits me feeling kind of relaxed, dog. I got a pack of 5, helping to keep the pack alive. All 5 arrest out. 2 with the pack of my modern day wolf pack, dream catching vibes. This is Hug with Young for your soul. Hearing eggs up in your bowl. Since forever ago, rest out, soggy pampers, now you know.
It's a wrap, bro. It's gonna be dope, man. It sounds already good. I'm using the Matt Mac Vox chain.
Oh dang!
He sent me his secret sauce. I got it. I got the Matt Mac sauce, baby.
The chain.
That's it, man. Anything that goes into the Matt Mac channel strip is like automatic, like gold, man. So shout out to Matt Mac. But yeah, so that's good. So what I'll do is I'll send you the lyrics here, Teresa, and then you can get recording to it. Do you think you'll have some time tonight to record it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, because it's gonna be on you, because essentially that'll actually bring us into the challenge of the week, because the challenge of the week this week is we're gonna leave we're gonna essentially do this chorus. Once this chorus is done, we're gonna sprinkle it onto the track, and we're gonna leave some verses open, one verse open, And so it's an open call out to actually do a feature song with the Northwest Kid featuring Teresa Henderson. A new track that we don't know what we're gonna call it yet, but I mean it's an open call out to do a collaboration with these fine folk here. We're gonna make it available through Dropbox on our Instagram and Facebook, so people will have the automatic download to like download the MP3 and WAV file, and then they have a chance to collaborate over this song with you guys, which is like that's super exciting. You know what I mean? We never done this before, but first time for everything. You know what I mean? So essentially, the track's gonna look like this. We have Craig's verse already here at the beginning. Then we'll have the chorus, and then it'll be an open verse, second verse. And you know, if we love what we're hearing on the verses, we're actually gonna ask you guys to all to ask whoever is gonna be submitting to send their acapellas as well, and we'll mix it up into an official track. You know?
Yeah, and David's really good at mixing, you guys.
Yes.
So
yeah.
throw your whatever.
My chain.
Yeah.
But I'm using Matt Mac sauce, man. So shout
out to Matt Mac's amazing.
That's it. But that's it. So it's essentially the challenge of the week is to just add lyrics to this. So we're gonna have it done after Teresa records her track, like her chorus tonight. We'll mix it up and then have it available tomorrow during the day. So the challenge will go live tomorrow.
And for all the poets out there, it should be a 16-bar verse section. So if you're like a poet and you have a poetry like brain, think of it in terms of 4 stanzas. You want to write like 4 stanzas, and that's gonna fill that chunk. And and if you have shorter, cool, right? Like there's no harm if you got 1 stanza, 2 stanzas. Maybe it becomes like a shared, 16 or something. Maybe somebody just goes in on a full 16 too, because you're old school. Like want to be.
100%. Maybe it'll be a 20-minute song if we get like 10 submissions and they're all fire. It'll be the longest song that came out in 2020. You know what I mean? But either way, like we're gonna get this done. That was kind of fun though. It was fun to do. It wasn't too much pressure, I think, and I think we delivered. We're gonna deliver something pretty special here with this one. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get this one done. And I'm excited to be able to also work with both of you. I never worked with both of you. Well, I did, Teresa. We did the N'we Jinan song, but like on a personal project. So I'm excited to see what can transpire from this. So I mean, that's pretty much it. Like I think we basically did the full direction of the show. We did the full show. Teresa, you actually answered the youth question that we always ask on the Windcarriers show: is what message or teaching of your ancestors do you carry with you? You answered it in the songwriting portion here, which was what does not kill you makes you stronger. So I definitely appreciate that tidbit. Craig, the only question that remains to be answered is what message or teaching of the youth or the young people do you carry with you?
For me, it's just like that idea of tenderness and like it always goes back to that for me. I feel like like it's so much there's so much hope for you, Teresa, and so much hope for like your generation, right? And it's like part of it's that tenderness and that understanding and that good head you guys have on your shoulders compared to previous generations. So I feel like it's awesome because it's like I did this personal work, but I was like in my 20s, right? And the people are starting to do it at a younger age, and it's like very great role modeling to see. And that's my biggest takeaway from like what I'm seeing the youth do right now. It's just like going in on their dreams no matter what. And like I don't know, for me it's like that support system that you guys have going on right now is super cool. And like for me, we didn't have that support system growing up. You maybe had like one close friend or something. But and like who knows, like sometimes like I just feel like people are more understanding of each other's story. And that's my big takeaway, is like being understanding of everybody's story, right? Like all these young people I meet all over Canada, they all have like very unique stories and they're all super understanding of each other's stories. So I feel like that's like the dopest thing to see.
Jam, bro. Gems, man. Definitely appreciate that. And so thank you both of you for joining me today on the Windcarriers show, joining all of us here, all the audience. We still have people watch it right now. You know what I mean? They stuck with us throughout the whole thing. And this can be posted on the internet so people will be able to watch it forever. And but I mean, we're going to send that challenge out to everyone later tomorrow morning. once we get cracking on this. And so Teresa, Craig, definitely appreciate both of you being on the show. I'm going to close it out with the N'we Jinan song. Maybe Teresa, if you want to stick around, like maybe just until the end of the show, so we can kind of just talk about logistics around this and get her done. Just stick around, okay? So it'll be like maybe another 5 minutes, all right? All right. So bye, both of you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. What's going on here? I'm trying to get you off. There you go. There you go. So that was Teresa and Craig finishing up with the activity. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, checking out our little activity. I was super excited. We're going to close out with Promised Land, our N'we Jinan song of the week, courtesy of the youth out in the northern Ontario, currently residing in Thunder Bay. The song's called Promised Land. It's on our Windcarriers Volume 8 album. If you would like to support the youth, definitely make sure you check out the YouTube channel, drop a comment, give them some encouragement. Also, if you purchase the album, all proceeds go directly to our youth-driven impact programming. So support the initiative, support the cause. Definitely appreciate all of you just watching, and we'll see you all next week on the Windcarriers Challenge Show.
The promised land is where I belong, It feels like years since I've been gone, I wanna go back to our isolated ways. It's isolating with the racism that we face.
I hold my dying culture dear to me. The hope in my mama's eyes. I see what she sees in me. I don't wanna be stolen from this world. It's to my missing and murdered Indigenous girls. We remember you. No, this is all temporary. Everything you're going through. I know the struggle of being judged for someone you're not. They can't strip away what our ancestors taught. Together we rise.
The promised land where I belong, It feels like years since I've been gone, I wanna go back to our isolated ways. It's isolating with the racism that we face.
It's so hard staying in school and being away. I loved home at age 15. I wish I could stay. I really miss the cover of being surrounded by trees. Yeah, my ancestors' spirits give me strength through the breeze.
Ever since I left home, I haven't really seen my little sister get grown. Because I gotta pursue my education, but it's so full of frustration because I'm not at home. My girl is my home away from home. She's a heir to the throne. She makes me feel at home in my little zone. She never lets me feel alone.
The promised land is where I belong.